long time. So your thoughts, opinions, they're I wouldn't say proven and bad necessarily, but they're well informed because the platforms that you've had to work with.
You would be surprised at how much more coverage, how much more room government has to grow to adequately address those issues. So, yeah, I can
Ooh,
speak to that. Okay, do you want to kick us off?
perfect. And
Yep,
do we start yet?
I'll let you edit it out.
Oh, okay, perfect. I almost wanted to keep it in because you just threw me for the ringer. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Give
Me,
the.
controller.
I'm Nate, one of your
I'm Matt,
co-hosts.
the wonderful co-host.
Ah, and of course, this is our Final Fantasy II playthrough, and Matt indeed has the controller, but I did want to go ahead and start off with some very important news. Everyone, first of all, please be safe. We got COVID-19, which YouTube's going to demonetize us now because I mentioned it, and we have all the civil unrest. And like we were discussing in the intro, that may or may not be edited out. Matt, you're a public servant, and you have a lot more that you can see on the matter that has legs, whereas I can just cite articles and essays and you know not necessarily help any. I'm curious with The Last of Us 2 and representing people, and even I went so far as to go to get a little more familiar with Final Fantasy 4. I was watching the PSP re-release, and I noticed how um, everyone looked the same. They all looked white. There's one ethnically diverse person featured, the Yang
Wait, what about
character, right?
Edge?
The martial artist.
What about Edge?
What's that? Oh, right, Edge. What is Edge?
He's got gray hair. What does that mean?
Not white?
I don't know. I think the, the
On
the point's the
right.
same. I think if I mean these games early on, it's not for lack of ability because I think they had the color palette available to them to do something. They just didn't. They
Hmm.
assumed a white audience or Asian audience or whichever audience they assumed that audience didn't want to see something else represented. And I feel I'm guilty of that too. Certainly from a younger age, I gravitated towards mediums that I think selfishly reflected me. Could I see myself as the protagonist or in that role? And I think when you're as
Right.
monodimensional thinking as I was, in many ways still am, no, you don't. You don't see, in my case, a black protagonist think, oh, that's me. But that underscores the importance of educating children early on to say, no, that can be you. You know, it's not the color of the skin that matters. It's what that character represents. And that early on, I remember, oh, you can't cast a black Superman or a black Spider-Man, whatever, because Spider-Man's not black. If the sole defining characteristic of a
Yep.
character is their color, you have a bad character. Spider-Man's more than just a white kid from Queens. You know, uh,
Yeah.
Superman is
Spider
more
Gwen,
than
Miles Morales.
yes, and I think Miles Morales, every much bit as Peter Parker, embodies the with great ability comes great accountability. So
Mm,
hopefully we
right.
all get to a place where you absolutely can have a multi-bodied representation that doesn't rub someone the wrong way and that doesn't turn off audiences from identifying with what are the core values of that character: nobility, selflessness, overcoming the odds,
Mm,
stick-to-itiveness. Those are the things that I think embody the Spider-Man, Superman's, Captain America's, irrespective of the shell that those are contained in. That doesn't mean though that shouldn't be taken as an argument against having a black character. Oh, they don't need to be black. If a black kid can identify with this white hero, why make the hero black? Because, well, like me at an early age, that needs to be intentional. Because I don't think I was at a
hmm.
space where I could self actualize that level of metacognition to identify with someone that
Right.
didn't look like me. No, I had to see it. I had to see it over and over again to show that, oh yeah, yeah, okay, that is a good character. That could be me. Oh, I see that. I identify with that same situation. So, too often early on as a kid, I read novels by white men, and I predominantly I think still do. Um, whether that's intentional, subconscious, implicit bias, I don't know. It's what I gravitate towards, and it probably is all those. Um, but at least now, I hope that there could be a character, a minority character in there that, for me,
Mm.
wouldn't diminish what the themes of the story are or what values I should take away.
I really appreciate that perspective from you because I remember looking up to you as a kid and asking you, you know, or rather, I'm sure I wasn't asking the question, but trying to ask that question, like, why isn't there more diversity? And I remember when we first started playing, the Mortal Kombat games, a Justice League game that we had on Super Nintendo. Yeah, there was a lot of white people. And looking back, I can't believe that it took this long. Look at Grand Theft Auto 5. I don't know if you ever played it. I tried to. It was too good of art, because it was just so brutal and real that it's easier to watch because I can't even like torture a fake a fake character. Not even acting. Like I'm not willing to choose to make that choice. And in Grand Theft Auto 5, you get to go ahead and play as a Black American. Now you can also go back to San Andreas. This is where it gets interesting because Rockstar temporarily closes online games in support of Black Lives Matter, and Rockstar has they not only are they an ethically diverse company, but they're pro all genders, they're pro individual, and this is a bold move, and it's great to see this in gaming because we're now real, not just now, but it's becoming gaming so mainstream now that it's on par with great television and incredible films because now we have access to Unreal Engine 5, Naughty Dog's engine, updated engine that they're using for Last of Us 2, and we're able to go ahead and provide the diversity that should have always been in place to tell the best version of a story, not to try and sell units. And speaking of units, uh, we have you had to do a replay
Ah,
uh, because old technology, and I did pull up some really, really, really interesting information on old tech and why you would lose saves. And it is actually really, really fascinating for anybody that appreciates micro engineering and circuit boards and being able to go ahead and play retro as opposed to on Steam and needing to sign in, computers, so on and so forth. Being able to have the old tech in your hands.
well,
Uh,
let me give some history here.
what?
So, you are, of course, referring to the fact that I bungled the previous recording we did, and we're starting from basically as it didn't happen. So, don't be surprised when I load up our next file, and instead of it being a 31-minute save, it's an 11-minute save. And oops, and that happened all the time as kids. That happened
They'll
all the
see
time
it
as kids. The power
all the
of the
time because the.
as the power of
Sorry,
the
go ahead. Go ahead.
reset button, the power of the power button, and if those were accidentally pushed, oh my god. Or, in some cases of Little Brothers, intentionally pushed, referring to the Mortal Kombat incident
One
of
time, man.
1997.
All right, maybe more
Yeah.
than once. That's possible. I remember Dad throwing a fit because I was playing Final Fantasy 7 and he was in a hurry. And I hope I'm never that parent. I want to be like Tom Papa, the Zen father. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna bring this up one day, and you're not gonna like it. But I remember that you lose you lose files and all that progress. And as kids, it's not like you can like leave whenever you want to go do whatever you
Remember
want because you're a child.
keeping the games paused when we went to church?
Yeah, yeah. Don't touch this. Don't touch it. Sure enough, get back. Thank God.
Right.
No one touched
So
it.
that speaks. Given the power of the technology, this machine could be on for hours at a time, but in many cases be fine. But in other cases, it was so fickle and finicky, you lose a save. So I think you were on the verge of trying to educate me in that technology. So please, if you have something,
Mhm.
share it.
It is. First of all, it's fascinating. It really puts into perspective. Yesterday, there was a SpaceX launch for the Starlink project to get free internet all over the world, right? And right on the heels of America sending astronauts to space with touches of a button. They didn't need to operate it. It was fully automated. Doug and Bob could have just kicked back and, stroked that shiny dinosaur and like, this is cool. There's a bunch of chaos behind and a pandemic. Isn't up here any of that. But no, they, according to Elon Musk, they were flying and operating the vehicle themselves, which speaks to where all that tech, the genesis of technology, which is circuit boards. It's fabricating plastic to house these circuit boards, and it's also trying to provide battery power to cartridges. Now, here's what's fascinating about cartridges: they're still technically on because a lithium battery on the inside of the cartridge
Hold
is
on.
engaged. Now, yeah, you're so let's say the Final Fantasy 2, Fantasy 4 cartridge, depending upon the release that you're playing. Let's say the cartridge itself dies, or rather, you keep losing saves. Now, what's happening there is that it's the literal lifetime of the lithium battery on the circuit board in the cartridge is dying. So all that save info isn't being saved because it's the communication from power source, which is the Super Nintendo, to the cartridge. There's a connection that to the lithium battery that engages it, and if that lithium battery isn't engaged, sure you're playing the game. However, the saving components in the circuit board are
So
not
you're telling
working.
me that Nintendo, Super Nintendo, even Atari had lithium batteries in them?
Yes.
I find that extremely hard to believe, but that's incredibly interesting to know because, yeah, I was kind of wondering how else does the game store the variables that need to be recalled each time you turn it on? I mean, I guess a computer is the same way, but
So Vice did a piece on it. Motherboard Tech by Vice: How to Replace an SNES Cartridge's Save Game
wow.
Battery. Yeah, so you need micro tools because these are not just micro components, but tiny, tiny little screws, tiny circuit boards, tiny lithium batteries that you have to reinstall into the cartridge in order to have the save data. If you want to go retro and use cartridges that plug into an SNES that still hopefully works, assuming that's not compromised, that's how you fix that problem. We didn't know that. And here's what you need: a 3.0 millimeter security bit to remove the cartridge screws, a CR2032 battery, a sharp razor. We used a regular razor, but an X-Acto knife might be better. A beverage to help steady your hand as we're talking about reanimating pieces of history. uh, for more permanent installs, you can also solder on a new battery, even using a pre-connected terminal.
Well,
So, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just think everyone should stay tuned to watch you do this when we're done recording today's episode.
I'm not doing that. I'm not Tony Stark. I mean, contrary to the shit you see behind
Didn't
me
you
and on
live
the
in a
walls.
cave?
Oh, fuck you.
I can send you some rocks. A box of scraps.
A box of scraps. I isolate that and put it in the intro audio.
Oh, we're getting pretty advanced here. All right, well, listen, we've taken a lot of time. Let's get in today's playthrough. And again,
Absolutely.
my
Yep.
bad.
And we'll do some more news at the end of the show because there is some actually good news in gaming
Okay.
occurring. All right, Matt. All right, Matt. Let's go ahead and get this playthrough started. I'm very excited. This is episode
Episode
2
3,
of well, either way of Give the
controller.
Hit It.
Switching over. All right, there's that title screen. Love it. There's that music.
Oof.
Also love it. But there it goes.
Soundtrack.
So here are the two save files.
Again, proof that we aren't professionals at this.
Not even good video game players.
Fuck no, dude.
All right.
Excuse me.
So here we are in the town, which we saw previously.
Yes, we did. So, fun fact: the because I'm getting re-educated, watching the PSP Redux of Final
Did you
Fantasy
spoil
IV.
it for yourself,
The
by the way? How far did you watch?
just to up until where we ended last episode, because I don't want to get too far ahead. And I gotta say, man, what a really cool update! I was really, really happy with how it turned out because Nobuo Uematsu went back and redid the soundtrack. Not only did Nobuo use live symphony, live instruments, but there's also elements of synths and playing in on, I assume, just keyboard or a few to bring Final Fantasy IV back around to a new audience because it was released in 2015, right? So that's around that's after Crisis Core, and it's about the time that Final Fantasy remake was Final Seven remake, excuse me, was originally supposed to come out.
Oh,
Yeah, but then because it was announced at E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, but it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back until 2020, which I mean, fine, take all the time you need,
yeah, right.
please.
Don't rush it. Don't rush a good thing.
Oh
Okay, hold
man,
on.
and
I have to pause, and we're going to listen to this. Okay.
all right.
So anyway, um,
It was a moment for us, no time for you. Welcome back.
oh, cool. So
I love this system and all these early games where it was really easy to die. Even the Legend of Zelda games that you could sleep and boom, HPMP restored.
that I do too. I appreciate the lack of a difficulty slider in this. It is what it is. Take it or leave it. Um, you know, and the idea was that you kept trying until you could beat it. That's the whole idea of the level system. You might not be numerically capable of something, maybe through tactics and strategy and innovation, you could claw your way through something. But at the end of the day, numbers are numbers, and if you don't have the damage output or the ability to resist damage, um, it's going to be harder for you. That also, though, I guess that made sort of an emergent level system, because if you knew you wanted an easier time, you could invest yourself into leveling up, and if you didn't want easier time, then you could just plow through the game at low levels and take what may come.
Right.
Oh. Okay, so the townspeople apparently have a universal opinion that I do bad things now. Or at least I didn't before. The king's become dreadful, so he wasn't dreadful before.
Yeah. So, like I was before the show, what I was trying to explain about the differences in the king now, the rather differences in the scripts. It's really fascinating because Cecil's lines are different completely, and because that I they were it was rebooted, and when they first started, probably in 2010, 2011. I'm not sure on the year. Yeah, they were probably trying to write it more skewed to current political happenings, and it worked.
Here's some.
Yeah, misogyny.
Yeah, here. So here.
Woo!
So dancers, have been maybe not up until this time what they are now, but a staple of the job system, and the job system quite gendered. You look at Fantasy Tactics, you have the bard, then you have the dancer um, for women and bard for men. So this game does acknowledge that there are difficulties. I mean, like Cecil's the knight, Rosa is the white mage, Kane is also a very combat focused fighter.
Rosa became a white mage to keep you safe.
Yeah, the whole kind of
Does Cecil
was
safe?
Florence
Like,
Nightingale.
that's some cisgendered straight white male shit right there, dude.
But they're playing the tropes, and it's easy writing to do that. And you talk about how graphics have elevated video games, but writing has also elevated video games. The writing in video games has come to a point that I think people can't help but recognize. Um,
Have you seen Spec Ops: The Line? That game makes me fucking cry. It is so sad.
no,
It's one of the best uses of white phosphorus.
I read a book from one of the key individuals on the studio, not the studio, the producer side of that. It was the name escapes me, but it was just an in-depth look at the video game industry. And this guy just got so burned out from it. I mean, he ended up, I think, having a heart attack at a rather young age. So he's since left the major studio business, and he went to found his own indie game studio. It was an interesting story. But yes, I think Spec Ops: The Line is sort of on my list because I know how much blood, sweat, and tears are put into it behind the scenes, and I've heard amazing things about it in front of the scenes.
It's very, very hard to watch and or play.
But she's a fan of
It's based on the heart.
exactly. I'm a fan of the source material and the Apocalypse Now.
Yes, Heart of Darkness.
That iteration would be interesting to compare the two. Kurtz.
And it's a quick play, so I'd definitely be down to do that. But oof, that white phosphorus scene, goddamn, is that hard to watch?
Okay.
Unlike Final Fantasy IV, which it's not hard to watch at all.
You don't even see them
the original release.
They're not even attacking the enemy. I swing my sword, a line appears over you, and you disappear.
So in the re-release, and how they were trying to extend the universe, which I suppose they did. It is canon. You did kill the mages. In the beginning of the game.
Oh, that's unnecessary maturity, but okay.
I'm telling you, man, the script is entirely different, which is nice because it's the reality of war and abuse of power. Because King Baron, woof, there's some Trump beats in there, dude.
I think it's just, we'd say, authoritarian themes. I would say that game was released before the rise of the current presidency, but authoritarians have been around probably since people have been around, to be honest. It's not, the phrase is always power corrupts. I've heard a better version, which is power reveals.
Ooh.
You know,
I like that.
I thought it was quite pointed. Here we are, the mysterious voice in the mist. I also hear voices in the mist.
You ever see the Stephen King film, The Mist?
I did not. But I wrote a role-playing module very much based on that. Aliens coming out of this fog.
Oh god, the ending. Woof.
Hashtag spoiler alert.
Ugh. Oh, I'm not gonna get into it, but again, man, me with the heavy content to watch, fuck.
I know, lighten it up.
All right, fun, energy.
How about you talk about the imps for a minute? Their pointy ears.
Oh,
ears,
dude.
Those horns? I can't tell.
Maybe both. Again, the character design of all the monsters, some of them are just so unique looking that we've never seen the same iteration unless it's like the staples, like the behemoth, right? Dragons, not the proud clawed, but the giant dudes with the giant swords. We've seen those, and countless Final Fantasy games. So the staples we've seen throughout, but each has their own unique designs and
And I
creations.
appreciate those as much as we see, fighting imps and fighting dragons, which are probably, throughout other fantasy mediums. There's no orcs here. I don't even know if there's any elves in a Final Fantasy game, called elves.
That's an interesting point because, well, I wonder if at the time, who held the rights to elves. If there was a company or a person or a non-biological entity or biological entity that held rights to using certain spellings. Because since intellectual property law has been very different
Yeah.
since, but that's because you can't own a word.
I wonder
You cannot
if it's also
own a
just a
word.
country of origin. I don't know how prevalent elves were in the Japanese zeitgeist. So maybe it didn't make sense to present to that audience. To be fair, I don't know if imps and porcupines or whatever are also prevalent, but maybe elves just felt too stereotypically Western, and we've already seen from the outset of this game with the airships, this is not your stereotypical Western fantasy.
That's true, man. Especially with I love how and the update you get to the graphics are clearly better, obviously, but the Red Wings you get to see the integration and forward progress of technology and how it influences a planet, a universe, if you will. And with the advent of air travel and the Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy II game, rather universe, even in the sequels, more and more technology gets not researched, developed, and implemented into civilizations, so that for a really cohesive narrative, while having to still fight these gigantic
Mm.
creatures.
Mm-hmm. You feel like they'd build better fencing or something to keep these things out. No, no, no. Airships, that's where it's at. Tourism. Merchandising.
I don't know, a force field maybe from different
I know you can
mages
do
of
it.
different classes. I know shield is a thing. Oh shit, here we go.
Return now. Well, not. There we
Oh
go.
man, this poor woman.
Do you still wish to go on? What if I say no?
That's too bad. You
Ah,
just go back, but
no,
do
I
it.
did.
Do it. Let's see.
I like that. That's efficacy. I can impact the game. Game won't go anywhere, but hey, I have a choice. It's sort of a false choice.
In a manner of speaking, though, that is how you beat this game. Because if you choose not to do that, sure, a really interesting narrative doesn't happen. But that is Cecil, choosing to not do it at all, which is kind of fascinating.
Well, this goes back to the sort of argument I was making about the sliding scale of what agency a player has. Yes, in a book, this is written as a novel. Cecil wouldn't say no. He would say yes because that's
Right.
the way the path that advances the narrative. In a game,
The
in a
pitch
video
meeting.
game, I can say
Well,
no and feel like I made a choice, but I didn't really make a choice. They've only programmed so many ways into it. Now, if this were a tabletop campaign, and I said no, like a Dungeons and Dragons thing, the DM does have the potential to spontaneously create a new narrative. And that's what I've liked about role-playing games. Their emergent storytelling, the shared storytelling happens. This isn't really shared between me and the game creators. I am experiencing a world they designed. I experience it more or less at my own pace, but it's still within the confines of their structure. And that's all right. That's what video games were back then. They are still now. You have your sandboxes game, which feel more open, feel like more choice, and they certainly put probably more production value to them. But at the end of the day, you're still in their paradigms. Is that boss music?
I wonder if, yeah, it's such a cool design. And on the re-release, it's a. I'm sure there's some samples here used here and there, but definitely used a full orchestra for quite a few tracks.
Cool.
I mean, why
Yeah,
not?
I mean, you have the technology, and we know it. Even this early on, music has always been just something that has to be commented on when you talk about a Final Fantasy game. I think
Oh
for us, it
yeah,
probably
from
reached
the
that
intro
full
music.
maturity with Final Fantasy VII.
Absolutely, especially with the main theme when you get out of
Yeah.
Midgar. Oh God, that song is beautiful. This, however, this battle, um, I'd like to see a much more dramatized version of this story because apparently Rydia is, according to the writer, she's the linchpin. She was really the target,
So,
and her mom was just trying to
yeah,
protect her.
I was thinking that when Cecil says, "I have to deliver this package to the village," like who though? Who do you who's
Yeah.
home with the village of Mist? Like oh, I have a package here for the village of Mist. Oh, we're not here. I mean,
You know what? We're not here right
yeah.
now.
Oh, okay. Well, can I leave it at your door? No, no, no. Take it back. Take it back. Come back and deliver it when we're here. It's just kind of a funny thing that
Well, so,
yeah, maybe because they expect the
what,
audience
when,
to not question it. You
you
don't
know,
have to.
I don't know.
Like you just okay. He's got to deliver a package of Village of Mist. I mean, would it be a deeper story if it was? Oh well, yes, deliver it in the hands of this person only. I don't know. Does it matter? Ultimately, no. But Cecil should have been like, what?
The pitch meeting.
But why?
Well, why would Cecil deliver the package?
Because
Because.
that's how the game happens.
But why? So the game can happen. Wouldn't you wonder who you're delivering this package to in the first place?
Now,
Nope.
I'm gonna need to get all the way off my back about this package.
I I feel like that's an oversight. Whoopsie.
Whoopsie.
Dude, Ryan George
Gotta give a shout out to him.
has really proven that. Yeah, it's dude. I love that guy, but he's proven that the most favorite films, shows, whatever, there's still flaws in the things that are your favorites.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's what are you gonna do?
love it. Learn to laugh at it. Learn from it.
Don't take it so
Right.
serious.
I understand that there are inherent flaws. I don't know if they're
That's
inherent, but when things are designed by people, people have flaws. People have oversights. We don't see things, and that shouldn't be a restriction, though, for you producing something. Just because someone can criticize it and point out where things could have done differently that might improve doesn't mean it shouldn't have been done in the first place.
right. Man, I gotta say before we move on to a very very sad part of the story, this is so much fucking fun. I love doing this, and I love that we're gonna be doing it all Pride Month long, and we're here to support cool people with great ideas. This shit's fun. Now on to a very sad part of the
What do you
game.
mean, Nate? We've done this before?
Uh-oh.
Hacked open automatically.
I think we have.
Deja vu?
And the re-release, it's a ring, not a package. It's a ring that activates.
Huh, I guess that makes fair. Can you just imagine, like, Cecil holding a brown box, like, through the Cave of Mist?
Wait, I gotta put this box down.
Combat. Put the box down.
What? Hold on, imps, porcupines.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hey,
It's,
it's Dragon. Chill. I gotta put this package down.
so hard to burn buildings of stone, but I guess it's okay.
Well, that depends upon what the stone's made of. Because if all you have to do is heat it up, and next thing you know, it just begins to melt.
Yeah.
So that fire that's occurring would have to be burning at what 900 degrees.
I don't know. So they're done here.
That-
Mechanically, they put a red tint to the background layer, and doesn't obviously affect the other sprites of Kane, Cecil, Rydia, and her mom.
That's brutal. Literally watched her mom die.
You know what that's like?
I don't know. Why'd you
Nah,
tell me
no,
about
not.
it? Yeah. Ugh. No thanks. Poor girl.
I wonder what the population of the village was before.
So Kane, I imagine, because in the re-release he makes it more sound like that he and Rosa are just like good pals, and he's older. So I think it's a brother sister thing between them. So again, different scripts, so technically different properties, I guess. But uh, he was already just loyal to the Dragoons, because it's much like the Jedi, are he's loyal to his faction, and doesn't really want anything to do with King
Mm-hmm.
Baron, because that guy's nuts.
I guess I always just read the fact that they were more akin to brothers, and that it was a triangle, as opposed to what you're saying here is it could be more of a hey, you're not worthy kind of thing, and I gotta protect her.
Hmm. It's possible. Again, we'll find out with the playthrough.
Kane's theory: just grab her.
Dude, you don't grab
Yeah,
children.
and don't fight them
don't,
either.
don't don't the dragoons have like an
A
order?
code.
Oh shit, Titan. Well, this I believe one of the first early introductions of Titan.
Sort of the first summon I ever saw in Final Fantasy.
Well, we never played the
Right.
first release.
So I never saw this.
Uh, yeah, and frankly, well, what was it, 16-bit or 8-bit? Either way, it was a
Super
little
low
rough.
bit
But
back then.
they didn't get to flesh it out like here in Final Fantasy IV. Not even thinking about himself.
No food, no water, a
Nothing.
kingdom that you have to escape from.
Literally, you have to escape.
I wonder if they'll come looking for me.
I don't know. I'm gonna go take a nap.
ah, Sandman.
Oh
You know,
man, that's fucking.
they're kind of traveling single file to hide their numbers.
Is
Star
that what
Wars
that
reference.
is? Oh, that's right, right. Because the
Yep.
tracks, right?
Speaking of Star Wars, shout out
Mm.
to Mandalorian.
Oh my God. Star Wars
Still
Rebels.
haven't
You
put time into
need to
that.
watch that. It's so goddamn good. Oh
You're
my
not the
God.
only person who said that
We're,
to me.
we're gonna because Ahsoka, we get to see her do her thing, and if you've been watched the Clone Wars, even, whether the watch the whole series or not, man, oh my God, Ahsoka, I cannot wait to see her come to the Mandalorian because she's getting her own series
Really?
actually. Yeah, and because Dave Filoni, without Dave Filoni, we wouldn't have Rebels, we wouldn't have Clone Wars, we wouldn't have The Mandalorian, we wouldn't have all the other series that are going to be under the Disney. Of course, it's Disney Star Wars canon, but Disney Plus. He's in charge of all of it, and John Favreau is working with him, but Dave Filoni is the one
Gotcha.
writing all
So
the
John
stories.
Favreau
But of course,
in the Disney Marvel is like Dave Filoni in Disney Star Wars.
yes, but I would say
Oh,
better. I bet he's a writer. Mind you, he got to work really, really, really closely with George Lucas himself. So he got to really understand not only the universe, but apparently he's going to, there's just a rumor, mind you, he's going to be backdoor telling the the microbiology story that George Lucas was trying to tell with the medieval coins.
hmm. Say more about that.
That's just it though. It's massive speculation. It doesn't really have legs yet, but it makes sense because the Ezra Bridger character is going to be featured as well, and the Disney Plus stories. So with the child being around and a bunch of Jedi that are rather now technically Force users because I don't know if they're Jedi or not. I don't know how they identify,
Midi
but
chlorians.
with right, exactly. So the Force users, people with midichlorians, there's going to be all elements. People that are Force sensitive are going to, it'll make more sense because people that have really good instincts, like Han Solo, maybe he had some
There
force
you go.
sensitive powers.
So, speaking of the child, this child here apparently was awake the whole time, or she just woke up when I put her in a bed. Classic
Uh,
child move. I can't go on. Carry me.
like over your
And he's wearing
shoulder.
he's wearing spiky armor. You know his shoulders aren't soft.
Yeah, the re-release, his armor is
I think he's
fucking
just dragging her like by
ridiculous.
the leg or something. Like I don't got a backpack.
Come back to my cave. I don't mean my cave.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
God,
see, there's the cave
Jesus.
again. You,
Oh,
you and the 10 rings.
oh, oh. I'm gonna build an Iron Man suit real quick.
Oh, look how desperate he is to protect somebody. He thought he was protecting the city of Baron. He thought he was protecting his king. He thought he was protecting his people. Lie after lie after lie.
So how long has he been lied
How long has he been lying to himself that he
to?
was doing the right thing?
Right when it became a Dark Knight, when he took on the shadow magic. I'm speculating wildly because there's shadow
Yep.
in his armor. Uh, what do you have to do? Like, what oath do you take? Like, I promise I'll be
Yeah.
terrible.
It's interesting they use the word oath, and we're gonna cross platforms again here. So in the fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons, paladins swear oaths, and that's sort of the source of their power. Spoiler alert for what happens
Right.
to Cecil, but you said an oath to darkness, and later in the game he swears a different oath. It's just interesting that I read early somewhere, some time ago that early Final Fantasies were patterned off of early Dungeons and Dragons, and it's still interesting how some 30 years later the similarities are still so stark.
You know what? Per your point, actually, that's a good point because the class system, the mage system, all those different systems that were implemented, they were taken from tabletop games and inserted into a digital
Yeah,
platform.
and and
Damn,
this
you're good at
was
this, bro.
one of the things that hang up for D&D now is how numbers based it is, how time based it is. This using a computer is a great way to reduce the burden of keeping track of hit points, accuracy, damage, defense, etc. So this just made that a lot more streamlined. It obviously brought it down at this level to a single player experience, which is not what Dungeons and Dragons started as. Um, but this paved the way for the ability to do multiplayer storytelling through the computer means. Obviously, you have Dungeons and Dragons Online, Final Fantasy Online.
Man, you'd kick those guys'
So much so he had
asses.
to run away. Probably back to his boss, actually. So that's not ultimately good news for me.
Plot device.
Did I beat him the last playthrough? I didn't save. So
Yeah.
I kept attacking him first.
Sure.
That'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see if that plays
Wow.
out differently for some reason.
Man, that would be cool if way early on, SquareSoft, not Square Enix, but SquareSoft was trying to influence, the randomness that can occur. Well, I mean, it's not programming, so it's
It's a
not really
simple
random.
variable, so I would, I think it's simple, but you could program, if all enemies defeated, then uh, soldier retreat equals 0. If enemy retreats, then soldier retreat equals 1. And when at a later date in the game, let's say you just call upon that variable, and let's say I want to fight him later, if the variable is 0, he doesn't appear. The variable is 1, he does appear, and there's dialogue associated with him. So it wouldn't be that difficult, I think, to recast that. All right,
Wow.
time to upgrade yet? Oh,
How much cash?
I got 1,000.
Hey.
What you have right now? Hold on. I guess I can look and sell. Can I sell? No. They can only sell if it's not equipped. Okay.
Right, I remember selling gear that I needed.
Yeah, exactly. I
And
do
I just
appreciate that because you're always like, wait, is this the one I have equipped or is this a spare? Now there's no argument. No, that is what it is. I gave her the bow and arrow last time, and it did diddly. I don't think I'm gonna blow my money on that again.
No, it's too early. It's too early on to spend that kind of money on needing to constantly refill
Yeah,
ammunition.
let's get some potions.
Plow ahead. Let's go say what's up to
Oh,
old
here's my
man
treasure
Tella.
room. Here's my naming way.
Hey, hey,
Naming
what's up,
way.
naming way? How you
Naming
doing,
Gwei.
champ?
Naming Gwei.
Way of naming.
Hello, Mr. Gwei. How are you today? Big chocobos. Huge chocobos. Those are the fun thing to do as a kid, is rename the characters like your friends.
I remember doing that.
So this is interesting. This flower pot, is taller than Cecil is, but they didn't allow me to walk behind it. Even though you can see through it.
Wow. So you can walk
I
behind
have to
it,
walk over it.
but
Some
you.
things in this game, though, so consider that
Right.
there are basically 3 layers. There's the Cecil layer, which these people exist on. There's the below layer, which this rug and the floor exist on. And there are other layers in between, but essentially there's below Cecil, there's Cecil, and there's above Cecil. Oh, this is always fun. So, I always wondered, do they actually respond to me? Am I moving him out of the way? And after playing RPG Maker, it's possible, if I could frame it the right way, to actually, yes, to code, in a sense, code for that. Um,
Okay.
it would be, if I'm pressing left against him, and I keep pressing left against him, let's say for 3 times, then he'll move a space out of the way. It just means that each character is trying to record that same variable. It's difficult. Another dancer.
Oh.
Oh my. That may have been a leg. I can't tell.
That was a leg. For all you foot people out there.
Little pixel foot. Well, this is not the place
Hey.
for that. So,
I would have necessarily call the show family friendly, man.
is this the item seller? Yes, he's got a little urn above his head. He sells ashes. Okay. I've got
Creepy.
some amount of tents. Do I need heals? Oh, it never hurts to buy a heal.
No, but you have a tent coming up, a free one that Tella uses.
Spoiler alert.
But that's once you
I
get him
have
to join
4.
the party.
That's
So
I have 1 life. I need more lives. And then cures. I don't plan on dying. Alright.
now it's good to have him.
So in the last playthrough, Nate, we got to Tella, but he turned me away, and we were speculating, wait, are we high enough level?
Now I believe you have to come back to this little town because
That's what we're doing.
Rosa she comes looking for you, but she gets the desert sickness,
Is that the antlion thing?
and you have to fight the ant lion in order to get the stone, because apparently you're also Thanos.
Oh my god, she has 30 health. Oh, that's right. I
Yeah,
forgot.
dude,
I gotta move her
she
back a
dies
row.
all the
So
time.
that was the cool thing about this game, is you can be a little tactical about that. You can't move your character around the space as you would in Dungeons and Dragons or other tabletop RPGs, but you can simulate a distance, which I thought was cool.
Well, she survived though.
And there's a metaphor for life, kids. Survive hard things, you get stronger.
It's true. Now, if kids are watching this,
Stop cussing.
I don't know. Right on.
We gotta be more child friendly.
Yeah, a little bit.
I was gonna go back and use the inn,
I'm like
but I figured I'll just spend the money. I'll just use the cure. What's interesting, so you say we have to turn back. We're sort of trained in the last cave not to turn back, right? The mist dragon gave me the option to turn back, and we were supposed to say no. We did say no. All right, sorry, we're supposed to, say no. I will not go forward, right? But if we said that, then the game didn't advance. So this now has given us the opposite directive. It's saying sometimes going back is the right answer, and maybe actually that's a comment on where Cecil's mind is right now. Before he was blindly going forward, and saying no didn't mean anything for the game. But saying no now can move the game forward. Or am I reading too much into it?
I think the writers were probably trying to get elements of both. Because once, he swears off the Empire.
The what?
Or rather, once he swears off King Baron and servant his kingdom, I think that's when just follow the not necessarily rules, but his heart and his guts, and maybe they were trying to tell that story. Here we go for the killing strike.
Well, the fact that you do go back to Baron later, again, there's some support to the argument that sometimes to go forward, you do have to go back. And that maybe it should be them trying to
I love when you
express that theme, or mechanically. Because it doesn't give us the option to go back or not. We just have to. Did I learn a spell?
Well, you gotta take down the king. I love that reveal later on. Oh my god, it's so cool. I remember being like, what? But I also remember saying the same about the Emperor and Rise of Skywalker, and thinking, what? Why would you do that? Come on.
I like the retreating from me. Yes, let's get lit.
All right. All right. Hey. You found a tent.
2 industry fledglings. Old man, don't presume to know where I've been.
Where are you, fledglings?
So, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this episode, representation of video games in media. You see here that, from what I can discern from the pixelation we're seeing, there isn't a lot of diversity going on. Okay, so she has green hair, but that's the best we can do.
Right.
We're not doing that great. Even RPG Maker, and I have MV version, came out only a couple years ago. The whole cast of characters that comes pre-generated, essentially monochromatic. Doesn't offer too much. You have to be intentional about creating a diversity, and that gets.
I appreciate your comments on it.
Yeah.
Because you know, kind of, I wouldn't say better than most, but a little more educated than not non-developers, right? About the whitewashing of gaming and gaming platforms. Video gaming specifically, tabletop gaming. I'm don't wrong. There's the Game of Life. Remember that game? How many white people are featured in that thing?
Well, all I remember were the little blue and pink pigs. Oh, she's gonna die. Oh.
Oh no.
You're gonna have a bad time.
French fries, pizza.
Cure it up.
Oh, poor guy.
French fries and pizza.
That's right. You can have a bad time, bro.
So it looks like I'm half as effective. Oh, because I'm not considered to be on the back. So there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're
Take the
taking
fight
the
to them.
damage. You know, Francis killed a
Oh
butterfly this
no!
morning. Yeah, I didn't see that it was in his mouth, and he brought it inside, and it was still alive. I put it outside, but I haven't checked to see if it's suffering yet, so it just might be in agony. And if that's the case, I'm gonna have to take care of it.
There aren't that many butterflies left in the world, Nate.
I, oh, Matt, its wings are broken.
All right, so it's a butter.
it's,
It's a butter wasp
it's
then at
literally.
that point. But come on.
Oh, it's like a deer on the side of the road. Like Papa Mike used to do. Like he would take his knife out and right in the
All right,
heart.
well let's go to the inn
I don't know if it. Let's do it.
because no reason. Wait, I have nothing to go to the inn. I'm up.
Go back to Kaipo.
No, the cafe. All right, this good-looking guy right here. Fabule. Yep, I knew that. Monsters are interrupting trade. Use the airships then. Bypass the monsters. See, that's more like treating the symptom rather than treating the disease.
Yeah, their shipping and receiving of and transportation of goods is, you know, people are also among those. It's
So
not great.
there's no Rosa here, man.
Not great. Damn it. I think we gotta
No.
look this up.
I should talk to people though. I shouldn't be walking around them. Oh, there you go. Do I know Cecil? No, I don't.
Rosa.
Josephine.
Very sad. Oh,
That's what I do best.
yeah, she's dying. That's
I mean,
that's heartbreaking.
oh, I can't move. Oh, I can't move. Okay, so don't leave her. But okay, Doc,
I think you have to.
Wizard,
I
what's wrong
think you
with
have
her?
to try to leave.
Sand Ruby. Okay.
Called the Ant Lion. That's some
Yeah, it
Avatar Last
is.
Airbender stuff right
Ew,
there.
can you imagine an ant lion combined together? Well, wait, hold on. Where's this? Where is the layer of the ant lion at?
You have to go. You have
Hold
to
on.
sneak past Old Man Tella.
I'll find this ant lion and his pride of ants.
I mean, if the ant is as cute as the one in Ant Man, big one at the end,
Nah,
that's not
it's
so
not
bad.
actually. So there's a.
And that I believe that is you, the game telling you go back to that cave and talk to.
Well, yeah.
The old
Now,
man.
like, look, I don't care who you are, old man. I have a reason to get past you now. Anna fell with a man,
Exactly.
but Tella didn't allow her to see him. Uh-oh. There's so much exposition in this town.
Yeah.
There I go again.
Oh, who's she? Oh, she's an exposition bomb.
Maybe I should rest again, actually.
Yeah, you're gonna need those magic points. Don't
Hey,
worry, Rosa. I'm gonna help you.
I gotta
I'm gonna
keep some
sleep first.
D's. You know, you can't be an unrested adventurer. The world's dangerous. You gotta be in your A game. I always liked in the games like these where the party would split from you and occupy the beds.
Hmm. Elements of realism, trying to ground it as
Yeah,
much as possible.
because I can switch between Rydia and me, and you talk about Secret of Mana where even the characters walk behind you, which I thought was also cool.
Much more
I can't remember
realistic.
what it's like in Chrono Trigger. I think They follow you, yeah.
They're behind you. Man, Chrono Trigger,
I
what a
regret that
game!
I didn't play that one until only last year.
It's such a good playthrough, and
Oh
quite
yeah,
the
I
story.
mean, I think it's actually got a more emotionally impactful story than this game does. But it came out at a later time. I think when writing video games had matured to a new point.
That was before writers that were, not didn't quite break through to film and television. That they were getting jobs in gaming, and now people are choosing to have jobs in gaming because you have
Yeah,
much more
it's
freedom.
legitimate. It can be a career. Oh wait,
I'd get a job at Naughty Dog, that's for sure.
you're a naughty dog.
If I can work next to Neil Druckmann and Halle Gross, count me in.
Oh, she did something. Oh wow, and she killed Nim. Her first murder. Wow.
Hey, but she levels up so fast, so she starts being able to take care of the C and D hit point characters. Kind of like
Mm-hmm.
Aerith, because at first, sure, she's really, really convenient, but then she gets stronger and you can really start messing stuff up.
Now, speaking of Final Fantasy VII again, we talk about representation, equity in games. And I think, Barrett may actually have been the first person of color I remember seeing.
You know what? I'm gonna Google that. That's a
Yeah, but
Google
even if it
question
wasn't,
right
again,
there,
the fact
dude.
that he's the only one I remember, that says a lot about me, obviously, but also says a lot about, or says little about how characters of color were treated before him. And even Barrett himself, I wouldn't call um, a positive model
That's some
necessarily of.
yeah, it's black
I think it
exploitation,
is,
dude.
and it's maybe intentionally to be a satire, but again, when you have so little representation in games already, should there be room for satire first? No, I think there should be positive representations first, then satire.
Ooh, yeah, Square Enix first black character.
Wow.
Uh, wow, it took them till '97. Jesus Christ,
So obviously a long way to go
he
from
is
there.
very. Yeah, man, that's wow.
So I wield the dark sword. I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I'm a dark knight.
Well, you got the dark
So
armor,
are
you
you
got the dark
capitalizing dark
blade,
sword?
you
That
got
makes it being it's a proper noun in its own right. A wicked bard.
exactly.
Now, pronounce that kingdom name, Nate.
Dampcan, Dumpcan,
Damsian? I mean, CY? Damsian?
uh, Dempsey, because that sounds like
I like it. Damsian.
Dickensian,
Okay.
if you will. Dempsey.
Yep.
That would make sense.
Sage Tella. Aha. To get my daughter who eloped. Oh, wow. Well, just be there for the wedding, man.
Yeah, right. She loves him. What's
Yeah.
your problem? Oh man,
Wait, why am
she's
I
a
going to
caller.
Damsian? Sage
So,
Tella.
so whenever it's like if we have a guest, that's the music we play.
Somebody has joined the podcast. Ooh, these maps are getting
That's
bigger.
funny. Yeah, the scale they gradually
How do I get that
expanded.
one? Can I walk up the river here? Oh,
I believe that's
it's a
the
false
case.
waterfall.
Oh no.
Toad. He turned into a toad. Oh, I gotta change Tella's position.
Is it is that Throg?
No, it's a toad.
Wind in the Willows. Wow. I remember when I first uh, got Tella in my party when I first played. I insisted on changing his name to Alvis because he was an old white guy. And Alvis is our grandfather for people that don't know. But again, the old white guy, a bunch of white people in this game.
And we look at it and we say, oh yeah, they're white, they're European. I mean, suppose that to a certain degree it could be interpretable as okay, sure they look white, but they're not European. You know, and
Right? They could be Spanish.
sure, although that would also be European, Spanish.
Of Spain. Is that
Yeah,
European
Spain's in
technically?
Europe, buddy.
I've clearly never left the country.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'm a big scaredy cat.
So keep going, see where this leads.
Hit it.
It leads
You
nowhere.
going to the bridge?
You get nothing. Absolutely nothing.
You get nothing. Oh my God, Gene Wilder, rest in peace.
I was thinking actually more of UHF.
Oh wow, yeah. Oh,
But Willy Wonka works.
Weird Al. Did you know Bill Burr is
I did
quite
not
the
know
Weird
that.
Al fan?
Bill Burr.
Funny's funny, right? Oh come on, how could you miss
It's
that?
a big mollusk because they're very hard to hit.
You're fighting in water.
Well, you
How
try
hard is
fighting
that?
in water,
Come
man.
on. I'm good. Did I sink? I'm so
It's a
dense
good
now.
workout.
Oh my God, I love training in water. It's holy
Better
crap.
dry that armor off when you're done. Nice, solid hit.
At our river spot in Fitch Mountain, for a workout, if we're gonna be doing some drinking, I'll walk
Yeah.
against the current for like 20 minutes, just do laps, and then I'll feel better about drinking. Like, all right. I did some extra cardio.
As you should.
I would not cast a lightning
Right.
spell if I
That would
was
be
in the
that would be a
water.
whole level of interesting. And that's something you could do too. So I talked about previously how you can set regions on a map. You could set up one that again tracks your variable, and you can make all the water, region one. And if I'm standing region one, I'll save that variable. And then if I go into combat immediately, while standing on there, that variable is remembered. And I could probably set up a thing where it says, yeah, if spell lit is cast and region equals one, then damage goes to everyone,
Jesus.
which would be
That's a cool
yeah,
mechanic.
kind of cool. Well, I like tactics. I think was the first game I played that had that level of strategy and tactics about it, where you use the environment in a way that previously hadn't been explored in Final Fantasies, where the terrain and so many other variables could matter in how effective you were and how you performed in combat. All right, these random battles are getting intense.
Hmm. Yeah, that's it's a cave ripe with. There it is, cave again.
Yeah.
It's a cave
Most
ripe
of the
with.
time in the game so far has been in a cave.
But I remember this also being a great level up opportunity if you wanted to
Yeah.
grind. It was a great place to grind because you have the save point
Right.
that
And
Tella
I'm not
shows
trying
you.
to intentionally grind here, but I probably welcome it
Oh,
because the ant lion's coming up, and who knows what else.
and this is a really cool way to see how the spells work in conjunction with how it affects
Yeah.
the opponent.
That's actually interesting. So you have Rydia, and then immediately, not too long after, you get Tella. So you have someone with white and black magic, and then another person with more advanced white and black magic. And it's kind of cool because it gives the player a sense of where the character can go from where they are. Okay, there's
Right.
growth. You get more because we get Cecil and Kane, and they don't have any special things that increase when they level up, and so you're kind of like, ah, lame. But then you get calls too, actually. So it's kind of nice that you get the sense that okay, cool, something more can happen here.
As opposed to just being like so OP that you're doing like the Captain Marvel of characters, if you will.
Yeah, or
Forget energy blast. I'm just gonna fly right through it.
let me just take down that ship by flying through it.
That was such a good point that this you get a Funko Pop, and it's gonna turn into what can it turn into? What do you have around you?
Anything? Sure.
Like a pen? It's supposed to be fun for the fans. It's a joke.
Jeez,
Jesus.
tough room here. Oh. Oh, that's right. You just push back. That's how you do all spells.
Whoa, that's right. There you go. And it uses the same amount of NP?
We'll find out because she was at 10.
Now, if if not, that's a flaw in the game because once you have to like multiply your power,
So
you know,
no, it didn't. It took the same amount. So yeah, that it's maybe it reduces the intensity.
that's a good test would be one
Yeah.
and then all, and this is how that works. Because if SquareSoft, now they're still Square at this point, they're not SquareSoft yet. If Square was wise, and they are, holy crap, there's zombies in this.
So,
Forgot about that. That means there's a lot of
yes,
implications.
life after death.
oh,
Oh,
oh
and
my!
another fact.
Whoa!
Are there humans around here?
Oh, what? So how do you become a zombie? Where's Rick Grimes? Carl, Carl, Laurie, Carl.
What? Rick. Coral. What
Coral.
TV shows would we have been watching
I
when this game was played?
July 19th, 1991.
We weren't playing that early.
No.
No, because I don't think
Maybe.
they went up to Oregon until like '94.
Yeah,
So
we weren't really like doing cartoons,
yeah,
animation, some fantasy here and there. Maybe Dad would put on Apocalypse Now or something.
Born on the 4th of
I remember
July.
that. Oh my God, these are children.
Yeah, they don't need to. Oh man, I still can close my eyes and see that scene.
Forrest Gump? No way, man. No, stop it. These themes are far too mature.
Here's my save point. All right, let's take a
Yeah,
look here.
man, what a cool design.
Let's go. So they make the argument. Wait, how can we sleep? Aren't there monsters? Well, look, we'll just put some, these graphics up over here, and you can just pretend it's okay to sleep.
So here's some expositional dialogue on how to play the
Provide you a
game.
tent. But they're not going to sleep in the tent. I got you.
Yeah, right. Oh, this is a cool dialogue that I'd like to see live action.
The fire reflects on their faces.
Hmm The crackling and the snapping of the wood as it burns. Redia clearly not sleeping well. In fact, maybe she's awake. Maybe she's listening because she doesn't trust anybody after what happened to her mother.
I picture more probably having some sort of nightmare. Frown on her face or
Right.
scowl.
Sad. Anna is your. I don't want to assume could you adopt her? Because I'm sure with all the monsters and all the zombies, there's a lot of people,
Oh, here we
a lot
go.
of
Now I'm getting some
orphans,
motivation.
probably.
Oh, that's right.
My friend.
Does Damsian have the ruby? Oh, because I think it's like their royal hunting grounds or something. Only the royalty can go in there and get it.
Or to prove yourself. What it's a
Yeah.
rite of passage, maybe. Jeez. But what if? Why can you just ask it? Like use it? Like, hey, my friend's sick. Can you help us out? I would think the antline would be a
Do
little
they
more
speak English?
wise. Or the
All
all
right.
speak
Well,
whatever.
that's a good place for us to end this week's playthrough, I think.
Yeah. All right, folks. That was this week's
Me,
give.
controller.
And thank you for hanging out with us and watching Matt play and listening to me maybe babble on a little bit about things that necessarily aren't relevant all the time. I really, again, Matt, this is a blast. It's a lot of fun. You're really far away, and it's nice to have some uh, manner of closeness with you. And I miss being
I
able to
like
do
it
this in
too.
person.
It's a good way to review the shared history we have and do something together and share ideas that we'd have now that obviously we wouldn't have been nearly mature enough for back then. And if anyone else listening has ideas on anything we've said about, Nate would love to hear from you. I'm really busy, so he
Absolutely.
can share them with me.
What we can do is I'm setting up all the socials, looking at doing a Patreon. You're pretty busy at it as it is, the whole pregnant wife thing and amazing full time job and owning a house and having
Ooh,
success
ooh, ooh.
tends
I
to
have a
breed
part-time job.
being
Let's
busy.
not forget that I am a man of the house first. I have a dog to take care of. I
Oh,
have dishes to do. I think it's very important that men
it's
step up
true.
and do those things as well.
I actually I got to speak with Dr. Drew and his wife Susan Drew about and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna upload it and share it with all the things. But it was really fascinating to get advice because from professionals, people who have been married forever, they're around each other all the time. Because Susan, she was the one who spoke because Drew didn't want to mansplain marriage. Smart guy. She said, make sure the dishes are always done. Make sure to provide romance and simply take care of the house as much as possible during quarantine. Because if you're always home and if your partner is always around you, you'll be able to have your space and not get and necessarily under each other's skin or in each other's way. And I love how you further reinforced uh, the advice that Susan shared
I'm
with me.
very wise sometimes.
It's I think so too. And what's interesting is gaming. A play sure it's silly, I guess. Some is silly, but we're making also great points in trying to have fun while we do it. Communicating to people that like it a lot. And this particular episode, I love how we were honest about hey, we're not professionals at this. We didn't check
No,
the test right. We're fledgling, but we're getting better each time. And you admitted yourself you're not a great gamer, and you're getting better as we go along. It's cool to see your
yeah, and we talk
evolution.
about. I think we spend more time trying to set up the episode each week than we do, playing with the controller each week. So it is actually
Actually
a full
playing.
learning experience. I'm sure it'll be fraught with trouble next time as well. But that doesn't deter me because anything worth doing is worth putting effort into, and this is something I feel like put effort into.
And it's absolutely worth all of our sport. It's worth our time because I think sure with all this chaos going on, we can provide a little bit of levity and still use our platform to promote interesting ideas and express that we do care about people that are trying to do good for goodness' sake. Are you ready to move on to
Let's
some
do
current
it.
events? All right, let's do it.
Current
And
events.
hit it. All right, current events. This I don't know how necessarily it's going to play out, but I do want to go ahead, and I know I've been pretty Last of Us heavy, but it's almost the 19th, man, and I've never been more excited. But it's Pride all June, and actually, a bit of an anecdote. J.D. Donovan, may she rest in peace. She was the president of Sonoma County Pride. She died suddenly May 21st, unfortunately. And Jordan and I had the pleasure of wine tasting with her at her establishment, and it's with a heavy heart that unfortunately that I'm talking about it. But I think more than ever, especially with all the civil unrest and people providing their voices literally all over the world, we maybe now need to pay more attention. And CBR is a company under the ValNet Incorporated umbrella, which has Screen Rant, Looper, some of the biggest heavy hitters of news content. They released an article, "The Best Video Games to Play During Pride Month," and of course, the number one feature. Have you ever checked out the Life is Strange
No,
series?
I am aware of it, and it is on my wish list. I don't think I have it. It might be on my Steam actually.
It's very, very pro. What a story!
Oh,
My
I do have it on
goodness,
Steam.
I've only seen one episode. Jordan's Jordan's a huge fan of um, of what not Naughty Dog, Walking Dead, Telltale's Walking Dead, Clementine story, and it's the same same type. You choose your own adventure, and it's so cool to watch the Life is Strange series because it's still ongoing, and it's really fascinating to see how it's how it's developing as as the world progresses and as engines get better and gaming design, especially after that Unreal Engine 5 uh, conference that we got to see. I can't wait for IPs like this, but it's definitely a good one to play during Pride. There's a there's a silly game called Dream Daddy, dad dating simulator
Oh,
for for all you bears
are
out
these
there.
dads married already or not
Mass
married?
Effect 3.
Okay, yes, because you have
I don't know.
Mass Effect 3 does have a either homosexual
Oh, man.
or non-binary Hispanic, very muscular man,
Right.
which is good because that is representation you don't normally see.
Exactly.
For the record, my character did not romance him.
Man, I'm having some latency problems right now. Let's see. Can you hear me just fine?
I can right now, yes.
Yeah. All right. I'm having some latency issues over here. Darn it. The Wi-Fi is better, but uh, I just need a better computer. Let's see. Undertale as well apparently is a good one to play. Toby Fox's Undertale saw overwhelming
I
success
played it.
with its pixelated art style.
Oh
Did
my
you
god,
like
I
it?
loved it. And I think I played that right after playing The Witcher 3 because I was late to that as well. And
Oh
so to
wow.
go from one to the other is such an interesting introspective into games because yes, Witcher 3 had some amazing moments. It was graphically beautiful, cool to watch, but I don't think it touched me thematically and narratively as much as Undertale did. You know, which again is a game that graphically is pixelated. Has more in common with Final Fantasy IV than it does with Witcher 3, but its narrative, its music, its overall design,
Mm,
it's just got a very harmonious feel to it that is evocative. And perhaps it is the fact
mm,
that it's so slimmed down. It keeps its message in the forefront of the player. You don't get distracted with side quests as much. You don't get distracted with smaller details we've come to expect from games, but which may detract from the overall theme and ludo narrative. You need to be cognizant that games
mm,
themselves, er, one way for games to tell a narrative is to have everything push towards that narrative. When I design a tabletop game or my own video games, you gotta think about, do the mechanics, do the side quests, does everything support the message you're trying to say? It's the same in writing. Does that symbol that you put in there support the overall theme you're trying to say? If it doesn't, take it out. And video games have gotten to a point maybe where we're just putting so much in there to see if we can. We're not asking if we should. And when you have a game that purposely limits itself, like Undertale, you're more intentional about what you're putting in there. You're asking the questions first: is this worth me investing the time to put in there because it advances the player experience vis-a-vis the themes of the game, not will it help justify the price tag.
And per your point about the themes, the main character Frisk is gender ambiguous, and characters throughout the game seem to eschew binary gender norms. One character, Papyrus, is flamboyant and often strikes dynamic poses that reflect their gender fluidity. Another character, Undine, is an unabashed butch lesbian with a penchant for fighting. A scientist monster named Alphys is bisexual and has a hard time admitting her feelings for anyone, though in particular she crushes on Undine, Frisk, or other characters depending upon which story route is taken. That is a bold play, and it sounds like it's absolutely fun. And the next, according to this article in CBR, is The Last of Us Left Behind. Now, a lot of people argued that, Naughty Dog, because also in the Uncharted series, there's two characters, both female, that are featured to have a relationship beyond raiding and stealing from people. Uh, uh, and that was DLC as well. Now, The Last of Us Left Behind is DLC before Ellie gets bit, and at the end of the DLC, she and Riley get bit. We see Riley in Last of Us 2, the trailer, so that means she's also immune. And funny thing is, they both their first kisses are with each other. And as we saw in the Last of Us 2 trailer, Dina and Ellie are close. They're dating. And in The Last of Us, the game, not the prequel, but The Last of Us, there is a young black boy, Sam, who there's suggestion that maybe he and Ellie have feelings for each other, but unfortunately, he gets bit and dies. So there's nods to that. Maybe Ellie just likes things, and I definitely support CBR releasing this article because it's gender, sexuality, what you're into, so on and so forth. It's people can just like things, and Naughty Dog really has been exploring that ever since 2007, and it's really cool to see developers pushing not I guess pushing the envelope, but being more inclusive and trying to avoid exclusivity. And you mentioned this during the playthrough today about RPG Maker not having diverse options, not even about gender or sexuality. So it's really interesting that you brought that up.
Yeah, I mean, they give it to the players to make the tools of, but they make it harder to get to them. You can't absolutely, make characters that look different. It's just that they're not pre-assigned to it. And I also appreciate CBR doing this because we have these type of things for so many other mediums, for books, for movies. You have these lists that push out. Oh yeah, you should be. If you want to be more aware of the space others occupy, here are good mediums to explore. Here are good parts of mediums. And there's absolutely no reason why video games shouldn't be included in that. They have just as much ability to influence, to offer you an escape, to offer you a chance to explore divergent thoughts from what you are normally expected to have. That they should be given the same privilege and I think scrutiny standard that books and movies receive.
All right, and just for the audience's sake, I want to go ahead and also share my screen to show the article. Of course, you can go to cpr.com and you can read this, and they also have the article readily available on their YouTube channel as well, and also on the web pages here. Why is it not working? Do you see it? I don't see it. All right, folks. Matt's got to go. He's got to go be a father,
To
a
a dog.
husband. Well, whatever. I'm a father to a cat that kills butterflies or tries to. Two cats. One has a really stinky ear. All right, Matt. This was fantastic. I really liked going for 90 minutes plus because we get to really share information. I've been Nate. You've been great. This has been
Me,
Give
the
the.
controller.
All right, folks. Much love. You take care of yourselves.
Bye. Bye, Nate.
Bye,
You
bro.
too.
Love you.